This is Kickin' and Streamin' Podcast. Here are your hosts, Graham and Jocelyn.
Welcome to this quick review of WandaVision, which was premiered this past week on Disney Plus. And I think we've all been waiting for it, haven't we, Jojo?
Yeah, we really have. It's the trailers have been really interesting, and I think we've all been very excited for this one. So it's good stuff.
We'd normally review everything that we do in this channel on long format, but from now on, we are going to try to, even though we are mainly a podcast, we are going to try to do some short format reviews, and then on a weekly basis, you will also be receiving the slightly longer format of when we'll go in depth into some of the shows that we like. Remember that this channel is all about what we can watch through streaming services. So we don't go through regular TV, although some of the titles will say TV review, but that's not necessarily what we do. Anything that is on Netflix, Hulu, YouTube,
HBO Max, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, anybody like that. If it's a streaming service, then that's generally what we talk about.
Exactly. And so this week, we are happy to talk about WandaVision. And I'm going to start by always asking my dear co-host, Jojo, for her opinion, because I always base my opinion on what Jojo thinks.
I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was, so we've only gotten the first two episodes so far, but we don't really know what's going on in terms of the bigger story arc yet. But it's the story of Wanda and Vision, and it's we're seeing it through the lens of first a sort of a 50s sitcom, and then a 60s sitcom in the second one, with odd little bits that come out. And I found it very interesting, very fun. The period pieces were very cool. And then you've kind of got the sadness that's going on behind it, because of course we all know what happens to Vision. So is this, what exactly is this? Is this a fever dream? Is this reality? So it's a fun little series on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think it's that part of it is probably what keeps us interested, is that we think we know what's going on, but it's hard to tell, isn't it? Like,
yes, this is it's a superhero movie based on a comic strip, so it's basically a soap opera. So absolutely anything can happen.
Yeah.
This could be a different universe. This could be a different time. This could be so many things. So so very cool.
I think for me, one of the best thing about this show, and the reason I already know that I like it and I'm going to continue watching it, is because of the two actors. They're good together, aren't they? Is Paul Bettany and what's the...
Elizabeth Olsen. They are great together. They have such wonderful chemistry. And I think Elizabeth Olsen is just one of the most beautiful actresses in Hollywood, and one of the most talented. So, watching her is wonderful, and watching Paul Bettany is wonderful because he's a very talented actor. And the two of them together, they really do. They genuinely have lovely chemistry. Especially when considering he's playing sort of a robot. So I mean that could be kind of strange, but they don't make it strange at all. It's very sweet.
Yes, and I love the series because it is an entire throwback. It takes you to places that usually through the lens of Hollywood have been idyllic. Although for me personally, it always makes me nervous, anything that is within the 1950s era.
Yeah. If we're talking about real life 1950s America, as seen through the Hollywood lens is lovely, but anything going on outside of that, we not so much. But you got fashion and interior design, and from what I understand, the wonderful and lovely Dick Van Dyke actually consulted on some of the workings because he was on so many sitcoms from that
Yeah.
era. So he actually consulted, from what I understand, with some of that, which I just think is sweet. Because I mean, how can you not like Dick Van Dyke? He's like 200 years old and still dancing. So I mean, it's awesome.
Do the feeling that I got when the show started, when the first episode started, first, the little jingly music theme, it made me want to just throw myself on the floor in front of the TV like we used to do back. Do you remember when there was a TV in your home that was an entire piece of furniture? Maybe I'm revealing my age here.
That's okay. That's okay. We're all.
But I have to say, the first episode, I actually liked the second episode better than, and I liked the first episode. There was a moment in the first episode where it was getting a little bit too chaotic, and I'm sure you know what part of it I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do, and it was confusing and confusing, I guess, more in an emotional sense or not necessarily in a plot line sense, but just in I'm not sure how I'm supposed to think about this or what is about to happen. So I agree with you. The second episode is a little more fun than the first and a little less. I think also because of something that's revealed at the end of the first episode, yes, you kind of have more of an idea of, oh, okay, this is what's maybe going on.
This is where we're going.
Yes.
So the Rotten Tomatoes scores came out for WandaVision, and apparently the critics like it.
Yeah.
Whoopee, right?
Yep, they like it a lot. So that's cool. That's exciting.
So what should we expect in your view? Where do you think this series go from here? Do you think that so far so good, but it could get disappointing, or you think the best is yet to come?
I'm hoping the best is yet to come. I think that as more of the story arc is revealed, and as more of what we know is going on, I think that even though at this time it seems a pretty lighthearted little show, I think there's some darkness coming, and I think that could be very good for plot lines.
So in your view, Georgia, do you think that someone must have seen the entire story arc of the Marvel Universe to understand and to be familiar with what's going on here? Would you, or do you think this is something that anybody can go into and just like it for what it is?
I think you can probably go into it and like it for what it is. I wouldn't say 100% though, because I don't think if I hadn't seen at least one of the movies in the MC universe because I wouldn't know who Wanda was and I wouldn't know who Vision was. So I think I would be mildly confused at what these people were and how they could do what they were doing. But it's also not something that a quick Wikipedia read couldn't catch me up on. So
I think you're right. I think, well, first of all, if you have Disney Plus, then you can take a couple of weekends and just go through the entire MCU. Because that was actually the main reason why I got Disney Plus, because you've heard me say this before in our podcast, is that there was a point where I wasn't going to the movies to watch these things because they were coming out of order, and I was always confused. And at the time, my son was, a younger teenager, and he used to get all exasperated and frustrated with me and his mom because, God, why is it so hard for you guys to understand?
You're so old. You'll never understand.
Exactly. Making me feel older than I am. So I stopped until Disney Plus came out and most of the movies were available. And some of them, because of contractual obligations, they weren't able to show within Disney Plus. But you could always go to Netflix and other avenues and find them. So if you don't want to go through the troubles of all that, like Jocelyn said, a quick Wikipedia will just put you where you need to be to watch this. So as of now, Jojo, what do we rate WandaVision?
Oh, I think I would give it the full 4 stars with the expectation of better things to come. So I'm excited to see it and to the conclusion.
All right. Well, then there you have it. We like WandaVision. You don't have to be entirely familiar with the Marvel universe in order to see what's going on here. Um, if you do have Disney Plus and you haven't caught up with the entire thing, you can go and watch. In fact, I think if you watch Endgame, probably you should be where you need to be to start watching WandaVision, but you don't need to really.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Don't let that stop you. Isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
All right. And so, if you like what you see here on this channel, please don't forget to boom, smash that subscribe button. We'll continue to do our best to bring you our reviews and also the long format podcast that comes out every Friday at noon. We'll do our best to put them out every Friday at noon. Also, if you would like to listen to the audio version of our podcast, you will find all the links down below.